Hello and welcome to the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast, the go-to resource for women who want to grow a successful business. Our mission is to empower and support women on their entrepreneurial journeys by providing valuable insights, practical tips, and a supportive community of like-minded women. Each episode of the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast features interviews with successful fempreneurs, business experts, and thought leaders, as well as a solo episode from our host. That's me, Wonderful Morrison, brand and marketing coach, business expert, and online business educator. If you're already on your entrepreneurial journey and seeking to take your business to the next level, the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast has something for you. Join our community of empowered women and gain the knowledge, skills, and confidence you need to succeed in your entrepreneurial endeavors. Thank you for tuning in to the Evolution of the Fempreneur podcast. Let's get started. All right. The best leaders are learners. When I was 22 years old, and I actually 25 years old, and we were building this business. We had been in the business for 3 years, and we were the janitors, the marketing people, all in business, everything in business. We came across a mentor who lived, thankfully, just like 5 miles from us. And every Thursday we would sit down with this gentleman. And I asked him one day, I said, "What made you do what you do?" And he said he was a CEO for a big company. This was in the 90s. Remember the dot-com thing? And he was a big CEO for this big company. And one day he had a heart murmur and he passed out. And he said, "I was too driven. I was doing all the things." And he said, "I needed to learn. I needed to learn and develop me. I needed to have personal development within myself." And he said, "If you want your bank account to grow, you must grow too. You grow to the same, it's equal. You grow, your business grows. You grow, your money grows. Grow, 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 grow." And I thought, I'm 25. I'm like, seriously, that's the advice you're going to give me? So I remembered this one thing where I did a stint of real estate for a minute, like 1 year. I did real estate, and all I did was show houses. I didn't really do a lot of transactions. I did maybe a couple, but I showed a lot of houses based on the company I was working for. And I noticed something different. It was in 2007, before the big bust. And when I went and looked at homes, and at the time, the highest priced homes at the time were 2 million. Today, 2 million's like ridiculous. Anyways, at the time, 2 million was the highest end homes, right? There's an area in Bellevue called the Gold Coast, and that's where all that kind of houses live. And then there's 200,000, and at the time, the medium homes were going for about 300 to $400,000. Here's the interesting truth, ladies. When I would go into their homes, when it was below $400,000, I would see like scatters of books throughout the house. I'd find a book or two on the table. I'd find a book or two next to the bed. I'd find a book or two, right? And then when I'd go into the homes that were between 400 to $800,000, there would be actual shelves and like an area of the house that's dedicated to books, right? It was like a whole shelf, lots of shelves, along with the scattered books all over the house. But the most interesting thing is the homes that were up from 900,000 up into the millions. There was a house I looked at in Queen Anne. If you know Washington State, Queen Anne is like Gold Coast for real. It was $8 million, this $8 million beautiful home, right? And what I noticed was entire rooms dedicated to books. They were called libraries in homes. And I thought, God, what is a distinctive? And here's what I thought. I remember going, you know what? I'm going to see what they do for a profession. Is the determining factor professions? No, not at all. because there were some homes that were in the $400,000 range that were making just as much money as the eight, and they were just not doing that with their money, right? They weren't doing that with their money. So I noticed that, so I was looking at, education. Was it education that changed the price point of homes, of the people who could afford them? Nope, that wasn't it. The only factor that changed was learning. People who learn, who want to learn, who are in pursuit of learning. It's not about libraries, it's not about books, but visually, that's what I recognize. Great leaders want to learn. So they listen more than they talk, because we are born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. They listen more because that's a driving force and understanding. You want to learn about the person. You want to learn about what their dreams and hopes. You want to learn why they're interested in you to begin with. Why would they want to learn about cryptocurrency? Why? Why does that matter? So I always advise, for every one question someone asks you about your business, ask them 3 about them. That's great leadership, because you want to learn about who they are as people, right? You're also vetting them to make sure they're not just doing lip service, because lip service is a thing. Because here's the truth, entrepreneurial leaders are made, not born. It's a skill. When they asked Michelangelo, how do you know what to carve into this giant marble on the side of a mountain in Italy? And he said, I don't. I just chip away the things that don't belong. That's what he said. That's you. You're already a leader, but you have to chip away the things that don't belong. Stop puking information out to people just because they need to know. Start listening to them. Right? Learners, leaders are learners. Learn, be curious, be inquisitive, explore the human being, be about what they are. Okay, next slide. Now, as always, what's this got to do with consistency? Well, in your workbook, there's this thing called your SWOT analysis. Does anybody not know what a SWOT analysis is? Or is everybody familiar with what a SWOT? If you've worked with me, we've done this multiple times. I do a SWOT analysis for everything. So a SWOT analysis is something you can do for any project you've got. You should do it for yourself, a personal SWOT analysis, so that you know what type of leader that you are, right? And then you also need to do it for your business as a whole to determine whether you have the right business model. Because it's like messaging. You're talking to the right people with the wrong message. You're saying the right things to the wrong people. A SWOT analysis can also help determine your business model. Is that business model a good fit for your actual business, right? And a SWOT analysis is brilliant for any new projects that you've got going on. Like my beautiful friends over there, Charlie and Heather, who are resource partners with us. If you're that social media thing, that's all about them right there. They're growing their business in a different sector, right? It used to just be this one thing, and now it's becoming this big thing. So you've got to do a SWOT analysis to make sure, do they have the resources, what are their strengths in that space? What are their weaknesses? So I really encourage you to take the time to do a SWOT analysis before you create a marketing strategy, because that marketing strategy might be a waste of your time. Like if you are a massive networker and no one ever calls you, it's like crickets, crickets, cricket, cricket. You're either in the wrong community of people, or you're saying the wrong thing, right? Or that's not your strategy at all. I had a client, she's still a client. She is a book publisher. And she said to me, Wonderful, I cannot do social media. I just can't. It's not my thing, right? And I'm like, nobody says that you have to. I built a business without social media. Bunches of the Vanderbilts built a business when it was just newspapers, for crying out loud. Okay. So it's not that crucial. It's just something that's very useful for today's world, right? So she said to me, she's like, and so we created a different strategy for her. What she did was her strategy was referral based. That's it. That's all she did. Once she built that and she could build the pipeline into her business of referrals, 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 then she got into social media. She didn't use social media to begin with as a way to build her business because that's not where her energy was at. She used it after, right? She was like, all right, now her social media is incredible, incredible. Whenever she puts one thing up, 110 people respond to her. That's an incredible engagement, right? Metrics. Or do you see where I'm going with this? Your strategic format has to be what's right for you. Leadership and authenticity. Like when Adriana said, people need to know, they need to like get to know what it is that she's doing. They need to be educated. Same with Tina. Tina's is the same way. People need to be educated. Sometimes it's not don't put all your eggs in that basket of social media. Start building community, start having some kind of events where people come to you, you go to them, get in front of faces, have a one-on-one connection, start building. That is a strategic marketing plan. Doesn't always have to be that way. And then if some young buck says, like your kid says, oh my gosh, we should video you when you're doing these presentations and take clips, do it, I dare you. Tell them, do it, I dare you. I'm not going to do it, but if you see that, do it, I dare you, right? And then eventually it'll evolve into where that's comfortable because you've spoken enough in front of people that you're like, all right, now it's time to step up. All right, next slide. SWOT analysis really helps your leadership skills. And here it is, ladies. This is you. You lead with love. You break all the rules. You will not be underestimated. You embody all the natural resources within. You hold other women. I say women because that's my clientele, but fabulous people could be the other one. In high self-esteem, you use your feminine energy to attract. This is you because you do not need more drive. Ladies, you do not need more effort and you do not need more grind to be successful. We just need more of you. That's it. That's leadership. That will change the game for your business. It just takes time. Stop being impatient with yourself. Well, it should have happened yesterday. Oh, cool story, right? That's true. Or gosh, if I would have started this when I was 20. Yep. That's true too. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. But if that's how you build your business is on all the things shoulda, woulda, coulda, you're gonna exhaust yourself by driving more, put more effort in, more grind, because then you're gonna do this. Oh, I just gotta perfect that presentation. I just gotta perfect that workbook. Oh, that graphic, it's gotta have one more thing in it. Oh, I gotta talk to this one person. And then you walk away from it going, oh, I didn't tell that person all the things I wanted to say. And then you leave that environment, that thing that you should have showed up as you going, oh, I didn't talk to every single person in there. Building a business like that is literally overwhelmed and burnt out. That's the burnout. That's the overwhelm, not the actual thing you do. That thing you actually do is not asking more of you than what you give. It isn't, because you're enough just as you are. You just have to come with your A game, which is you. It's just you. People need you. No one really cares how often your technology breaks down. Stop apologizing for things you have zero control over. Zoom isn't working. Great. Get on a FaceTime. right? Stop apologizing for things that doesn't matter to them, because what matters to them is what you bring to the table, how you help give value into their lives, what you create for them, your vision and your mission. What is your vision and mission for your business? How does it impact the world? And everything else will work itself out, because no one judges you based on the fact that your technology has a mishap, or that you missed a client conversation because you're overbooked. Just be honest. Just be you and say, oh my gosh, I overbooked. Because you know what else it does? That person who wants to work with you now has the permission to be themselves, because you gave them permission to be themselves. Permission is safe. It's allowing safe space. When you give people permission to be who they are, not perfection. When you're losing your mind being perfect, and especially if you guys are in-person kind of events, and you're over there just, and you're not connecting to your people, you're literally telling people that they're not perfect either. When you show them, man, that was hard, but you know what? Here it is. It's just good. And we're here. We're here together. You're giving that permission to show up just as who they are. And when people can be who they are, they'll tell you everything you need to know, because they trust you now. They trust you. And guess what trust evokes? Them giving you the money you asked for the value they're about to get. So if you find it hard for people to pay you, it's because of that. Because you're not giving them permission to be who they are, to feel safe in your environment. Right? Okay, next slide. Oh my gosh, now we're back to tactical things, wonderful. Yes, we are. Defining entrepreneur leadership is a mindset that focuses on organizations. And these are the characteristics to leadership, which is leaders solve problems. Who here is a problem solver? Raise your hand, you're a leader. Who here loves collaboration? Raise your hand, you're a leader. Entrepreneur leaders value action. You're here, you took action to be here. You don't have to be here today. Ladies, I know you have other things. You don't understand how grateful I am for the opportunity that you give me every time you choose to show up. Because you think it's for you and you want to learn. Absolutely, you're going to learn something. But it's also for me. I honor your hour. You're a leader. Entrepreneurial leaders believe that things can be better and that they can make an impact. Leadership is not, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It's never perfect. It's never going to go your way. There's going to be a ton of disappointments, ton of wonky roller coaster ride. Entrepreneurship is literally getting on the scariest roller coaster in the land, and you paid for it. You want to be here. You want to be an entrepreneur. Whatever it is that you signed up for, welcome to your life. But that's what makes you an amazing leader. You're a leader. Step into it. Stop looking for it. Just step into it in all of your beautiful imperfection. And you know where you know you're stepping up your leadership? Because the thing that you're about to do tomorrow, next week, next month makes you want to throw up. You're like, oh, I don't want to do it. That's it. Because every time you step up, you ask them to step up. Okay, next slide. Please. We got to keep moving because I only got like 7 minutes now. But here's how you scale your business, scale your leadership. Remember that gentleman who said to me that he had this beautiful home. Let me just paint a picture. His home, when you walked in, had a giant fountain in the middle of it. Who has a fountain inside their house? This guy. And he was an entrepreneur, right? You walk in, double doors, and there's this fountain with running water. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh. And he said, you know, he was such an incredible mentor. And he said you have to learn how to guide others. Leadership, first you have to lead yourself. First, you need to know how to lead yourself. You know how you know you lead yourself? Because you create a budget in your finances to grow you. That budget that's set aside for your personal growth has to do with educate, going to classes like this, investing in other coaches, reading books, getting on podcasts. That's a budget. You got to That is what we did at 22 years old. We set aside a budget when we were only making $500, no joke. We're making only $500, but we set a budget aside $100 a month for personal development. So every book that you've actually, when people say, "Oh, I've read this book," I'm like, That's how I was able to see Zig Ziglar back in the day. That's how I was able to see Tracy, what's his name? Oh my gosh, he's a leadership guy. Jim Rohn, that's how I was able to see him. That's how I was able to see, he just recently passed away, Bob Proctor, Brian Tracy. When Tony Robbins was not the Tony Robbins he is today, that's how I was able to see him, because we invested at 22 years old, $100 a month we'd put away, and we'd talk about what we were going to use that for in our personal development, because you need to learn how to guide other people. And the only way to do that is to see it in person by other people. Because there's models out there, but you have to invest time, money, and resources. You want your business to grow, you got to invest time, money, and resources. Do I cost money? Absolutely. Am I worth your investment? Absolutely. All right, next slide. Transition from presence to process. Ah, wonderful. I thought we were talking about feelings. Why are we talking about tactical things again? Well, presence means you're doing all the things. You are hands-on, you're everything. Now, if you're just starting out business, I get that. You actually are a solopreneur for a good 3 years. Then you kind of move out of that solopreneurship, hopefully by the end of 3 years, because you're making profit now. So then you invite people into your fold, like your web designer or whatever, right? Or your virtual assistant, or all these other people that can do other things that you don't need to be doing, right? That is what scaling your business is, because you need to preserve your energy for the thing you're good at. Because when you're expensing your energy in all these other things, who loves to do their taxes? Oh, no hands up. Well, maybe a Trina. A Trina, she might like that, but I don't know. No hands up, right? But that's energy being pulled in a direction that's not giving you all of who you are to the people who need you. That's why perfection is for the birds. Stop creating perfect anything, because perfection sucks way too much energy, and then you can't be the thing for the people who need you. None. Oh, Brenda, don't even get me started on the books I can recommend. I have so many. And we will get into that maybe after. All right, next slide. And then the last one to scale your business for you in leadership is prepare to address administrative duties. That sounds so professional. But the thing is, when you hire other people on and you create a team, it's not just what's in your head that needs to go. They've got to have something tangible to look at. They have to know, like, what are the steps to do the thing that you do? Because you cannot, there is some things called stem cell research, but you cannot duplicate yourself, not even if you gave birth to something like a human being. They are not your duplicate. They're not your version of you. There's parts of them that mimic you, but they're not you. So you've got to be able to have a manual of some sort that says, this is the business that I run. It's called a business plan. And I know that seems like wonderful. I thought that's like old stuff. That's like business doesn't run that way anymore. It's just called a plan for your business. It doesn't have to be this robust 80,000 pages that you pay. The first, so it was 1995, I think, or 94. The first month we made $10,000. Come on, when you're 25 years old, you're like, what is this? $10,000 is amazing, right? Our other mentor, we had a woman mentor, of course, this is a woman. She said, that's really great. Do you want to keep that up? And we're like, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it'd be so awesome. She's like, so you have to build a team. What does your team need to know about what you do? And we're like, you're 25, you're spitting stuff out. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, where's that at? Where is that information? And we're looking at her like, we just told you. And she's like, that's not gonna work. You can't evolve a team just by you spending all your energy and time in front of that person you're trying to duplicate your business. That's again wasting energy somewhere where your energy can be served somewhere else. So have a plan. That's literally what the whole 3 months is about. Building a plan for your business. The 3 month marketing clarity incubator is building a plan. So you could literally just walk away and be like, got my virtual assistant on it. I got my tech team on it, right? I got my team this, team that. Every team's got something going on because they got separate manuals. That is how you scale a business as a leader. Okay, next slide. Oh, I'm going to go over a little. I'm so sorry. I respect your time. If you have to go, you have to go. But this is recorded. And here is the things you've got to really keep in mind. Entrepreneurs keep getting in their own way because we focus on the wrong things. We're always focusing on the wrong things in business. It's what we're focusing on is perfection. We want to perfect everything. Stop it. Hire Heather and Charlie. Focus on what works for easy success, right? Focus on the things that you're really good at. Focus on activities that create results. It's called income producing activities. So when you're like, oh, I should rewrite the workbook, but instead what you should be doing is getting really, really honed in on what your vision and mission is. Your vision and mission will make you more money than the workbook you're trying to perfect. Because your mission and vision is your compass of growth. You look at that mission and vision that is day one of Marketing Clarity Incubator. Day one, mission, vision, values. That is a compass. If you do not have that, but you've got this fantastic workbook, your money, you limit yourself. You limit yourself for any financial growth. Multitask mindfully. Women think they multitask like a master. We're master multitaskers, right? We could do actually we don't. It's actually been a proven scientific study that we actually are not created or made for multitasking, because in order for something to be done, we need to be hyper focused on the one thing, finish that, and go on to the next thing. So be mindful. Take one project at a time, which is the next thing. Focus on developing just one thing. Sell one program over and over and over and over, then build something else. Right? Just do one thing really well. Sell one thing really, really, really well, and then do something else. All right, next slide. I promise I won't go over any more of the time. Ladies, this is a revolution. It's about me. We're already strong. Did they not know? Did the world not know? We are already strong. What we need is to show up in our authentic power, in our feminine presence. We need to stop looking for the validation and apologizing, and because we on our own, just by ourselves, can attract wealth and impact others, even without the little extra thing, right? When we were at Tina's house at her launch party, I asked her husband this question. I said, how did you meet Tina? And he tells this whole story, and he says, I knew she was the one before I even met her. He'd already painted a picture of her voice, her physical body, her hair. When he met her, he knew. He said when she came out of that room and said, all right, you're next, because he was trying to get physical therapy, He says to me, he goes, in my heart, I just knew it. Ladies, your soulmate clients know you before you know them. They're just waiting for you to show up. Because when, like, how I know Tina, how I know Sandy, how I know Cindy, how I know Charlie, how I know Brenda, I literally in my heart am like, when I see you pop up, I think, oh God, I love these women so much. I knew you before I knew you. We just had to find each other. We just had to find each other some way, right? We had to and it's the same thing. That's why connecting in social media matters, because they're waiting, right? Let's all be Jeffs and imagine in our minds our soulmate, so that when we show up, that's Tina's husband's name, Jeff. Let's all be Jeffs and imagine our soulmate clients, so that when we meet them, you're like, I already know I already know this person's going to be my client. I already know. I already know. That's what this is about, because it's about consistency, doing that thing over and over again. Sometimes we get all logic, and then we're just like spitting out information to people, but really you already knew that person. You already knew.